All right, my friends, this week on Prof and Dev Play Games, we dig deeper into our top 25 favorite games, and then we talk about Sony's State of Play. Stay tuned. All right, my friends, welcome to episode 466 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry at Prof Plays Games over there on Blue Sky, and he is Anthony the Dev. He plays games, he makes games. He is at Summer Speak on Blue Sky. How are you?
I am doing well.
Awesome.
I'm not making games right now. 3-day weekend, no game making.
Yep, just get to relax.
Yeah. Had a good dinner last night with family. We took my kids to probably my favorite sushi place in Seattle. And they both found something they're like, this is amazing. So
nice.
Success. More than, I guess, show them American style sushi more than Japanese style. Like in Japan, It was much more just little nigiri pieces of sushi, fish on rice, as opposed to American rolls, which are like rice on outside and all fancy, as I would say. But they found things that they enjoyed, and I got to have my favorite Northwest Albacore sushi. It's the best. I've been having it for like 15 years. It is truly the most amazing piece of sushi I've ever had in my life. And this place has still been making it all that time. So it was a good time.
That's cool.
Kind of a delayed Valentine's Day thing.
Sure.
But we're just going to go as a family.
It's nice to share with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter likes the idea of sushi, but when she tried, really wanted us to order some, we got some, and she was like, nope, I can't eat that. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Well, good times. This week, we're going to continue with our top 25 favorite games. Last week, we did our honorable mentions and 21 through 25, or I guess 25 through 21. Go back and listen to that to see where we started. This week, we're going to go through numbers 20 through 16. So we're crawling slowly up the top 25 list. Again, these are our favorite games, not necessarily the games we think are the best, but they are our favorites and they're in our hearts forever. So, I think I started last time. Why don't we start with you? What's your number 20?
Yeah, so this is a pretty old game. I want to say early 90s, like middle school time for us.
Okay.
A PC game. Master of Orion 2.
I don't even know what that is.
It is a space 4X, and I still find it to be the best space 4X game ever made.
What's
it's my favorite, at least.
Space of Orion?
Master of Orion 2.
Master of Orion 2, okay.
I still have this PC box downstairs on my wall.
Oh, wow.
And I have returned to this game every few years since the mid-90s. If I just want a space 4X where you're just expanding your space empire, building ships, researching for new technology, colonizing planets, etc., etc., etc. This is the one I come back to every time. And I think now people would look at it and be like, oh, it's pretty simplistic for how much the genre has just added on and on. And there's been a new Master of Orion sometime in the around 2015, I think, somewhere around there, give or take a few years. They just rebooted the series, and it was fine. It just didn't have the charm. And I guess to me, it's probably nostalgia at this point.
Right, absolutely.
Of just, this hits the right notes. It's simple and easy to get into, which is probably why I liked it when I was young. That I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I could just play it and have some amount of success, and learn the systems. So yeah, it's just, it's in an age where it's all still 2D art. But this is your Civ in space, basically. And for me is a favorite, and everything I've played recently, whenever I typically try any other space 4X, I just come back to playing Master of Orion 2 because it just gives me what I want out of the genre. Without a lot of the complication.
The reviews here are saying the exact same thing that you're saying, how just straight 4X goodness this whole thing is.
Yeah. You can get it on GOG. That's how I play it now. I've played it. It's really lightweight, super small because it's so old. It plays really well. I would play it on like the cheapest of laptops that I would have. It was a great game for that. So yeah, this would be 20.
Awesome. Well, my number 20 is a game that I think it was in the arcade games first, evidenced by the name. It was in the arcades. Never played it in the arcades. I only played it on the NES, and it is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game.
Yeah.
I think that 3 was probably the better game, but 2 was my absolute favorite. It came out right when I was just in the throes of my Ninja Turtle love. Or at least I got to it right in the throes. I think it came out in the arcades in the late 90s, maybe? Or sorry, not late 90s, late 80s. But came to the NES a couple of years later, probably early 90s. And it was just such a great game. You get to play as the 4 turtles, have their own weapons, obviously. But then the bosses, Rocksteady, there was Tora, the polar bear in one level. Yeah. I believe there was Metalhead. You eventually go with Krang and Shredder. Toward the end, if I remember correctly. I think Turtles in Time, if you're moving forward to the Super Nintendo, was probably the best of all of these. But my God, I played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 with my brother and by myself over and over and over. Just rented it and rented it and rented it, and then eventually bought it and just played the hell out of that game. And it's, recently when you and I went and played Shredder's Revenge, just having that felt very nostalgic to me because it was like what I remembered Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 being, but it was just way, way, way better. But to see the characters that I was loving in the, the cartoons, in my hands and being able to control them. And, we both had played the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game on the NES before this one. And that one was absolute fucking garbage. So to play a Ninja Turtle game that was, good was also, quite amazing at that time.
Well,
that NES game was just
that first NES game. Holy crap.
I think this one, did it also have, maybe I'm thinking of Turtles in Time. Baxter Stockman, I think that was Turtles in Time.
This one I'm looking now, it had Baxter Stockman in it.
Did it? Okay, that was in my head. Okay.
This one was 89 in the arcades and on the NES in 90.
There we go. Oh, just had a variety of, the foot soldiers had different color foot soldiers that did different things. There was just a lot of variety to the enemies for a beat 'em up that I was, frankly, looking back on it now, I'm surprised at. Then I probably didn't even notice. It just had all the characters from the games that I liked. But no, it was just super fun co-op experience with my brother. One of the few times we got along playing this game, which is also a good memory. So yeah, number 20 on my list is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game.
Very cool. So number 19 for me is I'm pretty sure every block of this is going to have a Final Fantasy. And so this one arrives here. Final Fantasy X.
Oh, nice.
And really why this one, when we talk about favorites, a lot of it comes down to like the environment we were when we were playing it. And this was in college. It came out and it was a communal playing. This and 9 were very communal playing experiences. But 10, I was the one that had the PS2, had the game and would play it. But I'd sit at the house with a bunch of my friends, and it effectively was probably like a month or a little bit longer of us just playing this game. I was playing the story for the most part, and then different one of my friends would take all the mini games and play those to their heart's content. I had a friend who did 40 hours of Blitzball.
Oh my God.
To do he did all of it. And
played nothing else in the game, just that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then everyone would just be sitting around watching as I played through the story, and like made sure that everyone was there, and it's okay, this is a nice story night. We're gonna go through. If it was grinding, people could just come and go. But if it was gonna be story time, it was like, yep, we're gonna spend our Friday night, probably the 8 or 9 of us just sitting in their big living room, the sci-fi house at University of Puget Sound, and just play and watch, and it was a great time. It was an incredible way to play this game and just have some heckling going on at times, because the writing's not amazing and voice acting's not amazing all the time.
Right.
But general, just everyone having a good time and happy we're there playing this game, and really enjoying everyone getting so excited when new like cutscenes would play. Oh, we always got so excited.
Running and gathering around the TV.
Yeah. So that's kind of why this one falls as a favorite. And generally, it's just a shift forward in the franchise that I always look back on with some fondness of being like, okay, PS2, it definitely broke from the PS1 era of 7, 8, and 9, and they did their own thing with 10, changing out all the mechanics again, how summons work, very much more interesting. I would say story, really kind of like 8, but 10 really focused on the love story a lot. Really strong paired protagonists of Titus and Yuna. Also the first time, and I will say this, we were playing it, and some of the cutscenes would come off with Titus and Yuna, and it was like, oh, this is the first time I actually can tell that the main characters are Japanese. Like,
in terms of the way they look, or
yeah,
interesting.
They actually like Titus. Like, you'll look at it and you're like, oh, that is like a late teenager, younger 20, like Japanese dude. Mm-hmm. Like, there's just even animated and like art directed that way, and you're like, wow, that's kind of rare for this series at this point. Because 7, 8, 9, well, they're all blocky when you play, but when they're animated, they're very descript kind of nationality and all. And this was like, okay, it felt to me and us of being like, oh, that's cool. They're actually like at a point where they can square themselves, can better represent the nationalities in the games in a good way, which was always a funny thing of being like, holy crap, we're here. Graphics are at this point. That was a fun time. God, that was a fun. Yeah, favorite just from that experience alone. And I've played this game. Haven't beat it since that one time in college, but I've played through chunks of it since then when they've done like the PS4, the HD remasters, which I think I own on PS4 and Switch.
Yep, me too.
So, that's my number 19.
That's awesome. That's one I'm hoping to get to this year. I'm currently working my way through 9. Just got past the part where Zidane grabs Dagger's ass climbing up the ladder.
You posted that, and I was like, "What is that? What is this?" I had no memory of that.
Oh, whatsoever. It was a very weird moment. I was like, "What is happening?"
And then I was looking at it, and I saw a video of it. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that is a weird moment," because I'm pretty sure tonally like nothing else in the game.
I mean, he talks about like hoping to get a kiss and all this stuff. He's very flirty, or, very flirty intention. But that was just, it reads differently now, and maybe it did then.
I don't know. I didn't remember anything. I mean, maybe we just didn't. We're just like, whatever, move along.
It was such a small moment. It was like, oh, it's so soft. Like, what?
Yeah, you're like, what? Huh?
I'm like, I must have missed that.
Is that a direct translation?
Right, exactly.
Just throw some weird slapstick in right there. There's some, I don't know.
Yeah, it was strange, but I'm enjoying it. But I hope I get to 10. People love 10, obviously.
They do.
You do too. Okay, my number 19 is a game from the Super Nintendo that I absolutely loved. Played through several times, have played basically every entry in the series since, and recently started replaying this one. It is Donkey Kong Country. Came out in the NES. Was it 94?
SNES.
SNES, sorry.
Yeah, it was 94 probably.
That seems right to me. And they were trying to do the whole looking like 3D, even though it's a 2D sprite. And you would probably know better than I do what that technology was and what they were trying to attempt.
I mean, it's still just 2D sprites, just they the sprites are just done. The sprite sheet that they're animating different frames of is just built off of a 3D model. Like, they just took individual frames from a 3D animation.
Right.
To fake it.
And that was, when did the PS1 come out? Was that 95?
Yes, in the US, I believe the PS1 was 95.
Okay, so it was earlier in Japan. So
I could be, yeah, it was 94 in Japan.
Okay, so it was almost, it was, I think it was
December 94 in Japan.
Okay. It feels like Nintendo knew what was coming and was trying to compete in some way, with 3D visuals in some way. But the platforming in this game was the thing. I mean, you got Donkey Kong, you got Diddy Kong, the ability to kind of swap back and forth between them. The music, David Wise's music, especially in the first underwater level. Anyone who's played that game, that's just ringing in your head right now. The ability to grab, it was a collectathon in some way. You're grabbing different, you're spelling Kong throughout the level. You're grabbing, animal tokens, entering secret levels. There were hidden things around, like staples of this series, originated here. The boss battles were intriguing and interesting. The game, I think it's like 4 hours. It's really short overall, but it's hard, right? It's the difficulty is higher than a Mario platformer. And that was a new thing for Nintendo platformers there as well, except for the lost levels. Obviously that was, Japan only at that point and hard. But there's so much playfulness, but like grit, like really, serious platforming, and I just absolutely loved it. And I loved that you could get the animal companions at certain points. You got the rhino, you've got the swordfish, the emu, and there's a fourth one that I'm not remembering right now, I think. And then King K. Rool, like the boss that is eventually got into Smash and is hanging over my head right now on my shelf. So excited when he got announced for Smash. So just, Donkey Kong Country throughout the years. I mean, 2 was even better than Donkey Kong Country. Tropical Freeze is the best one, like one of the best platformers ever made and definitely the best Donkey Kong one. But this one, Donkey Kong Country, is my favorite. It blew my mind and I could not stop playing it. I remember seeing it in the Nintendo Power, ads and previews or whatever else before it came out. And I just had to have it. And I got it for Christmas and just played the shit out of it. Loved it so much. So that's my number 19. Still holds up in my mind. I'm playing on Nintendo Switch Online right now, and it's great.
Yeah, I have pretty fond memories of that game. So I definitely owned it and beat it. A lot what you said. It was a more challenging platformer. But my God, that music will come on, and I'm transported right back there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
David Weiss is awesome.
Go ahead.
I said David Weiss is awesome.
Yeah. So my number 18 is Transistor.
Oh, fuck. What a great one.
Oh, my God, this game. From the reveal trailer, I liked Bastion quite a bit. Small little game out of nowhere from this new company, Supergiant, great art style. The narration aspect of it, just like everything happening in the game is just being narrated. Great game. And then I can completely remember the reveal trailer for Transistor and just being blown away by the music, the art style, very different than Bastion. The combat style showing kind of like a real-time turn-based thing going on. And I was just caught up in this entire game. The entire time. I've played it a couple times. Once when it originally released, I have it on the Switch, played it there. And there's very, very few games that I can just get lost in the detail of them. I absolutely love the soundtrack. I will listen to the soundtrack over and over again. It's a pretty standard soundtrack in my rotation while working. I have a lot of just consistent positive things to say about Supergiant, and especially this one. Kind of their sophomore effort really solidified, this is the style, this is the games they make. Even if mechanically they're very different games, the art and the look of them and the sound of them have always hit. Darren Korb is a genius. Oh
my God, he's incredible.
And that really started Bastion had a couple had good soundtrack and a couple songs I was like, oh, these are good. Transistor, I was like, this is amazing.
It's interesting how much of a favorite game, like you said, being transported, like the music in some of these games that are going to be on our list here, just the music carries so much. You can come back to that in so many different places when you're not playing a game and just remember how awesome the game was. And it really helps it stick together as a favorite.
Yeah. Really feel like everyone should play Transistor. It's not a super long game, and it's just really good.
It was when you were obsessed with it. I was like, I'm not really into sci-fi, but I'll check it out. And I was homesick one day, and I just played the whole thing in a day, and I loved it. And it was the first game on the PS4 that I remembered using the speaker, where your sword was talking to you through your controller.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, just a very special game. And this is one where I'm like, I wish I could erase my memories of playing it and play it all fresh again. Maybe that's what a favorite is. Who knows?
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 18.
Yeah, I think every single one on my list, I wish I could erase my memory and play it again. Yeah. That's definitely part of this for sure. My number 18 is I would doubt is on your list. But maybe I'll be surprised and be wrong. This is a game that I started playing in college and played for years, played with friends, played a lot with Travis, got into clans, sucked, but still had a great time. It's Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I was wondering if it would be on here. It was in my honorable mention area, not like super high up.
That's right. Yeah.
I have some personal fond memories. We played a lot of this at PopCap. We would do.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
What? Global Offensive? Not
CS,
Geo. No, Go was the new. It was a boxed copy of CS.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember which version it was.
Was it Source or Counter-Strike Source or?
I'd have to look again what it was. This would have been like between like 2005 and 2007, whatever boxed copy of Counter-Strike existed at that point. But I have some fond memories of playing it like on LAN at PopCap with a bunch of people. But you should continue because I know you played a lot more.
Oh my God, I played so much. I've been playing I played since beta 1.6. And I think it might have been Travis or it might have been just people in my dorm or I don't know what. But it was, it must have been like an independent download that you didn't need a Half-Life for. Because I thought it played off the Half-Life engine, didn't it?
It did. It was a mod for Half-Life.
Yeah, that was it. But I don't remember if I had Half-Life. I thought I could play it without it. But anyway, it was every single night. I played the shit out of this game. Like my freshman year, my sophomore year, junior year, I was abroad and didn't play it at all. But it was freshman and sophomore years I was obsessed with this game. Played it all the time. And I just made a ton of friends on there that I played, then I got their AIM IDs and we talked over AIM all the time. And then one of the friends I made on Counter-Strike was the one who helped me beat Diablo 2 for the first time, which was really cool. So I just made a lot of online friends. I know Travis did too. And Travis and I played a lot together. And just having parties with friends, in the dorm playing against them. But it just has always been a part of my life. When I went to Ukraine in the Peace Corps and going into the internet cafes to like do email or whatever, everyone was either watching porn or playing Counter-Strike. It was a very weird experience. But it was just everywhere. I was just, reintroduced to Counter-Strike at that point when I went to the Peace Corps. It's like, oh my God, people are still playing this game.
Oh yeah.
And then, obviously it's still going. Counter-Strike 2 is out now. My cousin was so excited when Train released for Counter-Strike 2 probably like 2 or 3 months ago, and he got me to get back on with him and we played Train together, and it was just like, looks amazing. But just the muscle memory of what I used to do and just, I would stay up fucking deep into the night playing Counter-Strike. After I remember so many parties that I went to, and when I come home after the party, just like totally drunk. And I was like, I'm not going to bed yet. I'm going to play some Counter-Strike. I'm going to play some Counter-Strike. And I was like, oh, I'm so much better when I'm drunk. No, I was not. I was never really that great at it. And then during the summers, between freshman year of college and sophomore year of college, my cousin and I played video games just all the time. And we would just take turns playing Counter-Strike, play until we died 10 times or whatever. And then switch, but he didn't die very often. So he got to play a lot longer. He got really freaking good at it. But man, when I think of like amazing gaming memories, online multiplayer, Counter-Strike's near the top of the list. So, just, I don't know if anyone's done it better, really. That kind of gameplay, like, has never felt as good to me since Counter-Strike.
Yeah,
even now, it's not as good.
Yeah, not a lot have tried directly going up against Counter-Strike in that specific type of game. I guess now the most popular one of that type is Valorant.
Exactly. And even then, it's got like I played Valorant. It was fun, but adding in the hero abilities and stuff, it dilutes it to me.
Yeah. But yeah,
the heroes are the weapons, right? The AWP.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was trying to see. Counter-Strike originally it came out in '99 as a mod for Half-Life.
I started playing January, February of 2000.
Yeah, so then that was 1.6. That's when I
started.
I want to say I think I did as well at times too. Like, I just never got deep into Counter-Strike. But there's no way that you could avoid it at that time.
No, absolutely not.
You're like, no, I'm going to see some of it. Although I was much more into the original Team Fortress.
I never played that one. Yeah.
The original Team Fortress mod on Half-Life. That was really good. But yeah, no, that's a pretty great time, I will say, for FPSs. And yeah, still going strong, and now you can gamble with loot crates.
Oh yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it was better before. It's not as great now. Even the gameplay, like, they've made like subtle changes to the map, so I'm just old now. Where I'm like, oh, it's not exactly how it used to be. But all the other stuff, there's so much wrapper to it. It's kind of like the Call of Duty login screen when there's like so many different things to the menus, and it's like, I just want to play deathmatch or whatever, and there's just too much now. I'm old man.
Yeah, pretty much. We're old gamers now.
Yep, exactly.
Speaking of, we'll go back to another old game. You had some Super Nintendo stuff. My Super Nintendo thing, this chunk, is Super Metroid. All the Metroids. It is still my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I think Metroid Prime, the first one, comes close. Didn't make my list, but Super Metroid was an experience when that came out. I never owned the first Metroid. I had played it at a friend's house and repeatedly died because I did not understand what I was doing.
Yeah, of course.
Never understood. I had no clue. I was just playing this thing, and I'd go into different rooms and die in like lava or not have the abilities to continue. But I think this is where I was a kid and marketed to by Nintendo Power.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I got very excited for Super Metroid, and got it, and oh boy, did I enjoy that game. And this is one I've played it a half dozen times over the years. We'll go back to, and I still think it holds up. Is probably, I would say it's, to me, the best Metroid that they've made. Again, in a way that there's a cleanliness to the entire design of it compared to like what came after this, Fusion, Dread now, and the more standard stuff. This Super Metroid just had like the right balance to abilities, to exploration, to puzzles being a little obtuse but pretty like easy enough to solve. It always felt like I was making progress in this game, and going and finding new things. Exploring the map was fun. So just all of that, compared to the first Metroid, I think why it fell as a favorite to me is that it actually had a little bit of like more story going on to it. It had a little opening movie, you dropping off the Metroid at the space station, and then leaving, and then getting the station coming under attack by space pirates, and having to go like fight Ridley at the beginning and escape, and just kind of this little like prologue to the whole thing that felt really, really good. That really just captured my imagination. As I don't know, what year was Super Metroid?
94.
Was it 4?
I'm guessing. I'm guessing
94. 94 was a good year.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was April 18th, 94. So yeah, it was just in the right headspace of like really diving into this type of game, and I just got lost in the lore and the universe. Your middle school brain of being like space pirates and like exoskeleton armor and the whole thing. Yeah, I was pretty excited by this one overall, and still love going back to this and revisiting it. Always am excited when they do this on AGDQ.
Oh yeah, Save the Animals.
I always watch a Super Metroid run. Always great. So
when my daughter and I were watching it this year, and I was explaining to Save the Animals, she's like, "But why wouldn't you always save the animals? I don't want them to die."
Gotta save the frames.
Yep.
If you want the fastest run, you can't save the animals.
You can't save the animals. Exactly right.
You can't see her 3 little pixels flying off from the planet.
Right. And I gotta go with you. The Super Metroid, I didn't play till after I played Hollow Knight, and it was probably you, definitely Brad, but I think you as well were like, you got to go back and play Super Metroid. And I was like, oh, okay, old game, we'll see how it is. It was incredible, held up incredibly. I agree with you. I put Dread down. I just got so stuck. I didn't know where to go and what to do. But Super Metroid was always the right mix of like frustrated exploration with progress. Like eventually you would just find something and keep moving. It wasn't too frustrating. I love that game. It's really, I would love to see that polished up, a little bit of a visual remake.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't need it, but,
it doesn't need it. Never know. Nintendo might be like, hey, we have this whole like Dread and Samus Returns and Dread engine. Let's do Super Metroid on it. We'll see, though. I don't think the Metroid games honestly sell incredibly well compared to the other franchises. So
they do not. Yeah, unfortunately.
Not in a bad. I mean, they definitely make money for Nintendo, but they're not. It's not the same level as a Mario or a Zelda.
Right.
Or a Mario
and
Kart.
Dread's the highest selling of the series, I believe, of all of them. So awesome. Well, it's a great game. My next one on my list, what is this? 2019-18. This is number 17. I'm honestly surprised it's this low because it's such a great game, such great memories. This is an N64 game that we all played and had a great time. And before I tell you what it is, you might guess it from this story. My cousin was kind of bribed to keep his grades up, and if he kept above C's for the whole semester, then he'd be able to rent a N64 at the end of the year and rent this game. And he did. Travis was over. Travis played the game the entire weekend, and my cousin hardly got any time to play. It was pretty frustrating for my cousin. It was Super Mario 64. Just like the level-based kind of exploration, go into the level, beat some objective, go into the level and beat a different objective, collectathon, obviously getting the red coins or getting the stars or whatever else.
Yeah.
The exploration, popping into the portraits and going into these little, portal worlds. There's so much playfulness, and the movement, the locomotion of Mario.
Oh yeah.
His triple jump, like just the way the camera, like back then I was like, wow, this camera, it was new, right? And it felt pretty intuitive. It didn't, get in the way. Now it's kind of a little bit interesting, but, they really figured out the 3D camera, at that point with that weird ass controller. And I just, we played it, on weekends sometimes. My cousin and I played it all the time when we finally got an N64. Like, I think that's the game that we played the most together. So, I mean, there's just so much to say about what it set up for 3D Mario games. It was the blueprint for everything that come, Odyssey owes so much to N64 along with a bunch of other 3D platformers. So, there's just the movement, the secrets, the exploration, their creativity and reusing levels over and over again and doing different things. It's just all so good. I loved it.
Yeah. I didn't have the N64, so I never really experienced it in like a huge, like, I'm playing this all the time. Jacob Sanders had one. I know I played that there a lot, or watched him play it, and would try it here and there. But yeah, I think you're right. It is the blueprint for every 3D Mario since, and honestly, most 3D platformers at that point. Like,
absolutely.
You look at them like, yep, Nintendo showed that you could do this. It's pretty incredible, actually. I haven't tried playing it anytime recently. Though,
I played it when I re-released it it was Sunshine and it was Galaxy 1. And I played the most of 64. It still holds up. It's still really good. Even my daughter was really enjoying playing it. We bounced around because we have the same affliction of gaming ADD. Bounced around the Sunshine and just absolutely fucking hated it. And it just put into relief how great the movement and camera was in 64. So great game.
Yeah. So my number 19, I think. Not 19. 16. Why am I saying 19? Yes. Oh, because I put line breaks in my thing, blocking them off. So you're right. My 16 is I have a lot of memories playing this one. I wonder if you have one of the memories. I know I played this game, and I know that you and Travis were around somewhat while this game was being played. I don't know if you were like, God damn it, why are you playing this? But Metal Gear Solid, PS1.
Oh my God, so many memories of this game.
I know there was one point where we had to stay the night at, not my house, someone else's house, and we were playing this game. I think finishing it at that point. But I say it's the only Metal Gear Solid that I liked, that I played.
I would not be surprised.
And so, favorite-wise, another game, PS1, this was like 98, 99, playing through it. And the level of detail in this game and interactivity, I guess, and novelty to playing this like third-person stealth action shooter thing, just from the get-go, and it's very cinematic. Again, I was right at the prime time to be like, take this in. And I think this is where Kojima was like, I'm making kind of a movie. And it's absurd, but the way the whole thing opens, it has like going up in an elevator and you get your title card and great music generally throughout. But did very cute things, from a game design standpoint. And I still look back on it as game designer years on now being like, hey, there's some clever stuff here. The Psycho Mantis fight, where to do it, you need to unplug your controller and plug it into port 2, so that Psycho Mantis can't read your mind,
right,
and preempt your inputs. Where it would he would also read if you had other Konami save files on your memory card, he would reference that.
Wow.
There was a point early in the game where there was a thing of like, hey, you need to tune to a radio frequency and talk to someone. And they're like, you pick this thing, and it's like, it's in the game, you do this, and it's like, you'll find the frequency on the back of the CD case. And in your inventory in the game, you have a CD, but you can't look at it. It's literally the physical CD case of the game.
That's crazy.
The screenshot on the back of the Metal Gear Solid PS1 case had the frequency that you should be tuned to talk.
That's so cool.
It is cool. It was just like, there's cool little things where it's like, oh, this is kind of blowing my mind of like what you can actually do when you think outside the box in game design, of being like, wait, you can have some like meta design going on, and be like, no, a player is playing this game. How do you interact with them outside of the pure just game context? So that will always stand as a favorite of just like, this is cool.
Was there a game that broke the fourth wall like that before Metal Gear Solid?
Not that I had played.
Yeah.
But there could have been.
Yeah.
But not that I had experienced. So that kind of why it's a favorite. It's just stuck with me, all those moments. And just then the absolute batshit insane story.
Oh my God, totally.
But the reason why I'm like, I say that this is probably the one I liked is that I've played. 2 went even crazier, and I hated it so much. I hated it.
And that was it for you? You didn't play the rest?
To my point, I've never played another Metal Gear after that.
Yeah.
2 happened. I finished NGS2, and I was in college. I had, again, that sci-fi house. We were all together.
Yep.
We did it in one sitting.
Metal Gear Solid 1?
Night. No, 2.
Oh,
Metal Gear Solid 2.
Okay,
one sitting from like 5 p.m. during Thanksgiving break, whenever. Yeah. From like 5 p.m. and I finished at like 7 or 8 a.m.
Oh my God. No wonder you hated it.
We all night. Hated it. And it gets real dumb. I hate it. I hate it so much. And yeah, I never played a Metal Gear Solid after that, even though people are like, 3 is great. And people like 5. I don't think people liked 4 that much.
No, I think that's the worst one of the bunch.
But either I was just like, I'm not giving Kojima my time again. Never again. You don't get this.
So you never checked out Death Stranding either then?
I saw it on streams and I was like, yeah, I'm not playing this. Nope. Screw this crap.
Not every auteur is for everyone, I guess.
No, but he was, to me, the first Metal Gear Solid is the right level of his auteur, and I've played that. I still have the disc for the PS1, and I've played the GameCube, the Twin Snakes. I have that version as well, which I think he hates.
Really?
He's been interviews where he does not like that.
Was he not involved in porting it to the GameCube? I don't
think he was. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I can see that then.
They added a lot of like additional cutscenes that made it feel much more in line with Metal Gear Solid 2 in its like gameplay overall. Like you could play it a lot more like Metal Gear Solid 2. I don't know, but yes, that's my number 16. But
my memories of this game, I'm certain I watched you play this game for a bit, but I remember watching Travis play it. His senior year of high school when Annie broke up with him and he was so upset. We ditched school for the day. We went to his house in Scotia and he played that game all day. So I thought I was going to like comfort him or like, hang out and get his mind out. Nope. I sit next to him and watched him play that game all day. so many memories of games that I just was at Travis's house watching him play, and there was like no interaction. There was, he would get into a single player game and that was it. It's just a little odd.
You're like, why am I here?
I did think that, but then he was so thankful that I was there. I was like, oh, I'm glad you thought I did something. I just sat here and watched you play this fucking awful game. I've only played Phantom Zeros, which I thought was really good. And then I played probably 15, 20 hours of 5, and the gameplay was awesome, but the story was so batshit insane. I had no idea what was happening. I was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. But I'm spoiled, not spoiled. That's the wrong term. I, as a kid on the NES, played Metal Gear and fucking hated it. Sure.
I tried emulating that at one point in college. Because I was like, oh, Metal Gear Solid, there's Metal Gears before this.
Yeah.
Like just the Metal Gear. And I similarly played them and was like, what the hell is this?
Yes.
I hate this so much.
Deeply difficult. It was unbelievable. Well, my number 16, the last one for the night for both of us, is a game that I got for Christmas in 1995. Again, saw it in the Nintendo Power, was so excited about it. Followed on my love of platformers, and it's usurped the, I guess this is the prequel to the one that's usurping, but it's Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, which is on my list, and Mario World is not. Yoshi's Island was so special to me. You get to play as Yoshi. You're keeping your baby Mario on your back, and every time you get hit, it runs away screaming. You've got a couple seconds to go get it. And the screaming, I think, just stands out in everyone's mind as the most annoying part of that game. But I loved the art style, the crayon kind of childlike art style, really inventive platforming. Again, just the secrets. I've loved the Yoshi series since this. I've played as many as I could play. The recent one, Crafted World, with my daughter was so awesome. But this one, I was so happy getting it and playing it through that whole Christmas break. I just woke up and played it every single day, and it just brought so much joy. I haven't played it in a long time. I really need to get back and play this game again. But there was so much just joy, childlike joy in this game. And it was something that was such a swerve from Super Mario World, which I had played a shit ton of before this one came out. And I don't know what the reaction was because it was so different than Super Mario World, but it was something incredibly special that I came back to again and again. So that's my number 16.
I don't know what public response was back then. I know that it reviewed really well because it's a really good game.
Yeah.
But it's very different than when you're like, oh, I'm going to play Super Mario World 2. You're like, wait, what? What is this? Yeah, like even its game ranking and Metacritic have it at 96 and 91 respectively. Yeah, so like I knew it was always incredibly well loved that way.
IGN gave it a 9.4. That's a GBA version.
Yeah,
Game
I mean
4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, reviewers loved it. I'm like, did people kind of at this point, because when did this come? It was into 95. I remember renting it a couple times and really enjoying it, but I was I was moving on from SNES at that time. Playing a lot more PC, I'll be honest. But thought it's a very cool game. It still looks incredible. It has like such a good art style.
Oh man, it still holds up. I mean, their art's, their pixel art, but then this one, there's something about it. And there was a new one that came out for the 3DS that didn't hold up. I'm struggling to remember the name of it now. It was after I got back into gaming, so it was like 2015 or something like that. But this is, I don't know. It stands out to me as one of the best platformers that's ever been made. I have some other platformers higher on the list, but this one, it's every time I think about it, I'm just like, this one I think defines for me why Christmas time is the time that I always want to play a Mario platformer, because just how joyful I was playing that Christmas, the 95 going into 96. What a really, really special game.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's our 16 through 20. Next week, we will dig into our 15 through 11. I'm excited to talk about some of those games. Got some real good ones buried into those 5. But we are going to pivot now to talk about the predicted, because we're so good at predicting things. There was
you were good at predicting. I was like, I don't know.
Sony State of Play happened, and it was, my review would be it had a bunch of good stuff, especially if you really like action, character action games, which they're okay.
Character action games with swords.
Right.
Like they have a lot of that. I joke they actually did have a fair amount of other stuff as well, kind of mixed in. But overall, I was like, it's fine. Nothing that blew me away that I didn't know about already. Like they start with Monster Hunter Wilds, and I'm like, yes, this game's coming out. It's very soon. It's the launch trailer. I am so ready for this game. So cool.
Cool,
but no. Looked really cool.
I can't believe you let me get that one on Fantasy Critic. I thought you were going to go for it.
Maybe I thought I put a bid in. Maybe I didn't put it on that one.
You did not, according to the league history.
I probably didn't then. I did.
It looks amazing, and it's done by the ones who did Streets of Rage 4. Lizard Team, I think is what they're called. God, the art style looks really gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I've never played
really cool brawler.
I've never played No, that's not true. Shinobi was a arcade game, wasn't it?
It's a Sega arcade game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember playing that at the laundromat while my mom was washing clothes.
It was around in our young lives at different arcades. It's hard as hell. Because it's an arcade game. 87 was when Shinobi came out.
Yeah, sounds right.
It was on Sega, and I'm pretty sure it was on anyone? I think I knew someone that had a Master System originally, and they had it as well. Still hard as hell. And I always got it confused with Ninja Gaiden.
Right.
I'll be honest, at that age.
Yep. And, in fact, as I said, I played this in the arcade, or whatever the arcade machine is at the laundromat. It could have been Ninja Gaiden, but I'm pretty sure it was Shinobi.
I don't know if Ninja Gaiden had a arcade.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Shinobi.
Yeah. But looks cool.
Oh my God. Let me have it now. That's going to be one I'm going to pick up. Unless the reviews are terrible. I don't know. I doubt. to be honest.
There's a lot of stuff I didn't care. Like, I don't care about Sonic racing. Sonic needs a Mario Kart now.
Yep, and there it is. Yep,
there it is. Digimon coming back. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I was never a Digimon person. Lost Souls Aside was Final Fantasy 15 at home.
Yes, right. Like it has.
I looked at it. I was like, "Is this a Final Fantasy?"
Yeah, people kept making the comparison to Final Fantasy 13. What was it called before it became 15? Versus
13, Versus. Yeah, Versus. It totally had that. It just totally had the vibe of
absolutely.
what became 15. I was like, and I think the person's given an interview that's developing it was like very much inspired.
Oh yeah, and it's a single dude.
Which is incredible. I don't want to give the dude crap for me. I'm just like, yep, no. Okay. I see your inspiration.
Well, and this was the first time that I've really seen. I've heard people talking about it on podcasts a little bit. They're like, "Oh, I think we'll see Lost Soul Aside at this State of Play." I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" But boy, the arenas, the backgrounds, the way that you battle, like, really does look like 15. And I enjoyed 15, so maybe this can be 15 but better. So I'm willing to. Willing to tune in and see how it goes. I just think that the sword play looks cool. So
yeah. Then we got, like, again, more stuff that we've seen, like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza, which is coming out very soon. A new Dave the Diver that has
Ichiban
in it. I don't know. Maybe you like WWE 2K25.
I'm probably, the island looks like a place where you can spend a lot of money on cosmetics. Nah, I'm good. Yeah, I have 2K24. It'll give me what I need. I don't need to get in. Yep. Borderlands 4 was announced and given a release date of September 23rd, which has everyone saying that means Grand Theft Auto is coming out at the end of October.
I saw that, or that's the assumption now.
That's the assumption. Exactly right.
It's definitely not September. Because this is coming out.
Yep.
So we're like, it's after September.
And probably before Call of Duty is what everyone's thought is. So
yeah, if it's
coming out.
Yeah, that's always the big statement here. I'm like, I saw the stuff where like the CEO was like, yeah, it's coming out this year, but I'm like, I don't think they're just going to push that game out if Rockstar push back and they're like, it's not ready yet.
Yeah. No, they want to get it right.
We want more time, and I'm sure they would get it. So, I'm always question when people are like, "Oh, it's going to be here this year." I'm like, we've seen plenty of times that that's not actually the case. So that looks cool. Split Fiction still looks great.
Oh my god, I can't wait to see how this lands, because if it lands critically very well, I'm going to have a hard time not trying it out, because it's two writers exploring their own stories, which sounds rad. It looks amazing. The follow up to It Takes Two, which was Game of the Year in 21, I think it was.
Yeah. Looked great.
Got the next
Directive 8020.
Yep. Dark picture game.
Oh, Supermassive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sci-fi horror thing. Very much in their wheelhouse.
Yes, exactly.
I will not be playing this. Ever.
No. Not my thing.
Yeah. Neither is Five Nights at Freddy's.
Definitely not.
Do not care. We have. That's how I'm like. Yeah, I am.
It's a series that very much missed me. I don't even understand what it is.
Yeah, exactly. It is for a younger generation for sure.
Yep. The next two, though, are for me. The Midnight Walk, which I snagged on Fantasy Critic. It's either going to be PS5 and PC as well, or PSVR. And it's got this claymation kind of stop motion-y vibe to it. I don't know if it's horror. I don't think it's horror, but it's got very creepy monsters and just very almost like Nightmare Before Christmas-esque kind of look to it. But this is going to be fucking wild in virtual reality. Yeah, I don't really. You have this says that your quest is to return fire to the world, but there's a lot of monsters sharing your path, and it's a creepy game. That's about all I know. But the look itself, just I don't know. I'm gambling that it's gonna hit in some way, but I think I am mostly excited that there's something new coming to PSVR 2 that is interesting looking. So
see that.
And then the next one, I can't believe this is a Konami game. It's Darwin's Paradox, which you are a octopus and it's inside. That's what it stands out to me as. And I absolutely loved Inside, so I'm willing to take a look. It's a side-scrolling platformer with depth to it, and it looks like puzzle mechanics. You're an octopus. Got some interesting animation to it. I don't know. I'm surprised it's a Konami game, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. We're seeing a few of things where the bigger publishers at times or developers are doing smaller scale things. So that's nice. Yeah, it looks cute. I'm watching the trailer again. I'm like, right.
God, it looks beautiful.
Yeah. It could be a lot of fun.
This is like, if this lands, such Inside vibes, and Inside was so great. I would love to have another Inside and I just love the skittering around on the 8 legs, the tentacles, and just all the zany shit that's happening to this octopus.
Yeah, this really was just the Konami block, wasn't it?
It was.
It was Darwin's Paradox, and then we got a Warriors.
Well, that's not Konami, right? That's the Koei Tecmo.
Koei Tecmo. Yeah, Koei Tecmo on that one.
Tecmo. Yeah.
Tecmo. Yeah. Warriors Abyss, which it came out, I had a friend pick it up and he's like, oh, it's a lot of fun for a Warriors fan. He's like, it kind of seems like it was a mobile game.
Oh.
It's not a mobile game.
Yeah. Well, that's high praise.
Yeah. But just absolutely absurd level of just number of characters and just ISO action RPG kind of thing. It looked enough. It's out now. Yeah, and then we got Capcom with Onimusha. Is Onimusha Capcom?
Yes. No, it's Capcom. Yeah.
Yeah, you got Onimusha 2 and Onimusha Way of the Sword. So Onimusha 2 remake, basically, of PS2 game? I can't remember. Pretty sure Onimusha was a PS2 game. I never played them. And then Way of the Sword, which has such a different vibe, but that's not even until 2026.
Yep.
So, it has like a slapsticky, comical vibe to it.
But also very bloody.
Yes. It's a choice. And I guess in some ways it stands out from things like, Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei kind of thing. Like,
well, I like how you can
do a samurai game with a different vibe than.
Yeah, it really does have a different vibe. The slapstick stands out. The Jesus Christ slicing people in half, but also the ability to pick up things in the environment, using the table as a shield, throwing things around.
Yeah.
And the monster design is fantastical compared to Tsushima. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, but we'll know more. It's next year. Next one is the one you were talking about earlier, Metal Gear Solid 3, which they're not calling 3, they're calling Delta.
Yes.
Nikita. First in the series chronologically, even though it was the third one to come out.
Yeah, never played it. I've heard people like this one a lot. But
yeah.
No, I'm not touching it. I refuse. I can't go back. The trailer looks absurd like any other.
Yes, it does.
Metal Gear Solid game. So it looks pretty though.
It looks amazing. Yeah, I'm curious to see how it plays out in terms of the Kojima's not part of it. If they stick to the script and the fans, end up liking it. David Hayter's back, so I think that's one thing that fans will like.
Still not sure if Kojima ever said why he chose on 5 not to bring him back and go with is it Kiefer Sutherland?
Yeah, it was Kiefer Sutherland.
It was a big name Hollywood actor instead of David Hayter. And I'm like, was there any other reason other than you wanted a big name Hollywood person?
I just feel like sitting as Keeley is just like as many stars as possible.
Yeah, which I'm like, no, David Hayter is the voice of Snake to me. So
yeah.
What else? Oh yeah, now we get into the a chunk of actiony stuff. Hell Is Us, and then Lies of P Overture, which I'm like, not for me overall.
Not for me. Good for some people.
Yeah, just not. Didn't do it for me. I'm like, yep, seen this type of game. Dreams of Another was Pixel Junk thing. That looked neat.
This looks
the art style was really neat.
Yep, the art style looks neat. This is another PSVR 2 or PS5 game, and you're basically deforming the environment by shooting it, and then creating things by shooting it, and you like uncover the environment by shooting the voxels, basically.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hope this one lands because that's a neat concept that I would love to check out.
Yeah,
in VR especially.
In VR it'd probably be very weird. Very cool. Days Gone remastered. Okay.
Yep. We should have a $10 upgrade path for folks.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to see this one considering it wasn't that well received in general.
And enough where Sony was like, yeah, we're not doing a sequel.
Yep.
Ben was like, here's a sequel. And they're like, nah, we're not doing it. But enough to get a remaster, I guess. And more Stellar Blade. This going with the Booba game DLC. It's already a Booba game. And now they're going even further.
Yep. Because Nikkei is the one, like, I think I watched a Nikkei, I think Travis linked it, and it was just like jiggly first person, third person shooter kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Yeah, they're going full out.
Yeah, they know their audience, and they're just doing it now.
Yep.
I was actually surprised for the next one, Blueprints.
Yeah.
On PS5. I realized when I drafted, I've only played as much as the demo. I didn't play more than that, so I am looking forward to this one more and more. I feel like this is a game that like you require having a notebook and taking notes and just discovering more and more and more of it over time. I just wasn't expecting to see it here. And I think this trailer showed off like the vibe of it really well.
Yeah, and coming to PlayStation Plus. Not
day
core,
one.
Not core, but whatever the upper tier is.
Yeah. Spring still. So I still think it's the next couple months. Seemed really, really cool. Is there anything else?
I mean, Tides of Annihilation was interesting at the end there. It's something new. Like a take on Knights of the Round Table. I wonder how that'll be. It's like Clair Obscur coming out of nowhere and kind of looking really cool, but who knows how it's going to land. But this is another one of those that I think looks really cool, and I wonder how it's going to go.
Oh, and it's another sort of action-y game.
Yeah, exactly. It's got some really cool. It reminds me of Nier a little bit, where you've got like the 3D sections and you've got like the 2D sections, and almost also a Xenoblade where you're like crawling on big creatures and or maybe not even Xenoblade, but Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah,
where you're climbing a bunch of stuff. So I don't know. This I will pay attention to. I'm a sucker for this kind of storytelling genre, Arthurian with big swords. So, yeah.
Metal Eden, was that just like a shooter? I couldn't tell if it was just a single player shooter.
I must have blacked out on this one. I don't know.
Doom-esque kind of thing. Like it's sci-fi and everything, but it's like looks like be like a fast-paced.
Oh yeah, looks
shooter FPS.
Yeah.
I blacked out on Mind's Eye. I'm like, oh no.
This is the Leslie Benzies one, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the Grand Theft Auto dude. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems so generic to me that I just have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's anytime soon. So
it says summer 25. So
is it?
Yeah, that's what this says at least.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Okay. I think you need to show more of the game. Like, tell me what this is going to be.
Yeah.
And I guess try to get it out. They're getting it out before GTA 6.
Yep.
And the end, I was pretty... Housemarque. New game.
Oh,
Saros.
yeah.
Actually, when they first started, before they said it was Housemarque, I was like, this has Returnal vibes.
Oh, yeah. It looked like Returnal.
Like, is this it's not a Returnal sequel. At least they're not saying it's a sequel. There's part of me that wonders if it's in the same universe, though.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it's linked in some way. It seems like it's like a spiritual successor to Returnal. They said they wanted to keep Returnal whole as what it was, but this like adds to the loop of Returnal, where you could like keep some of your stuff. Some stuff is enduring through your next run.
But that's not until 2026 sometime. So
yeah, it's a ways away, and maybe it'll slip. But do you know what a Saros is?
No.
It is a period of approximately 6,585 days that can be used to predict eclipses of the sun and the moon. One Saros period after an eclipse, the sun, earth, and moon return to approximately the same relative geometry. So it's basically like an eclipse cycle.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that might give us some insight into what's happening. But I thought that was pretty cool.
That is really cool. So yeah, some stuff there. Nothing that I'm like, yes, this is the most exciting stuff ever. But some neat teases there. Like I said, I think this year is just a little bit quiet for Sony themselves. So
yes, like what big first party games? They've got Ghost of Yote, which wasn't even here.
Nope.
But otherwise they've got some blips on the map. They've got Days Gone Remastered, which is something. Yeah. Metal Gear Solid Delta, which is exclusive to them. Some of the PSVR 2 games that are also PS5 are not on Xbox. So there's a couple of things here, and obviously
it's kind of what it is. It's just like, I feel like this is just show that there are still some cool stuff coming to the console, even if not purely exclusive. And then hold out until I don't even know when they would show like big things again. Probably not until there's not E3, so Summer Game Fest most likely. That price kicks off kind of in May.
Yeah, that's what I feel like we're gonna get, like either Wolverine or whatever Insomniac's making next, and some of the other studios we haven't heard from. Although most of them had stuff that they spun up that got canceled because they're all live service stuff. So
wasn't Insomniac working on Venom as well?
Well, that was rumored.
Okay.
Well, that was rumored for 2025. So, that leak, that Insomniac leak.
Yeah. In a way that was similar to Miles Morales was for the original Spider-Man. Like not a standalone small game. Building off Spider-Man 2. So that wouldn't surprise me, but I'm like, okay, we haven't seen it yet. So when?
Exactly.
But yeah, it was I'm very curious if we'll see anything else by anybody before Nintendo drops their stuff in like 6 weeks.
Well, the rumor is that we're going to see a thing from Nintendo before we see a thing from Nintendo. There's supposedly supposed to be a Nintendo Direct. That's just what there's a ton of rumors from different areas. They may be repeating the same thing, but it's either a partner direct, which is probably what I think is going to be.
That's probably more likely.
Yeah. Because I don't know if they're going to have another, here's some more stuff for the Switch before the Switch 2 comes out, because I really feel like the Switch 2 is going to be June or before. So
yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah. Well, that's a great a bit of stuff. Really quick, I know we gotta go, but I'm gonna dig into one thing I played because it's topical. Nightreign, Elden Ring Nightreign. I played the network test, and I played the second night, basically, or the second round when the network wasn't shitting the bed. And I played just for an hour, and I had almost no issues. I disconnected once, and then got back in, and played through the first night and died in the second. And then the last time played all the way to the boss of the second day and it dropped. And I was like, oh no, we got right to the end, right when I was going to see what the reward is or whatever. And it died, but it was actually 10 PM and the network shut off.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, it was just so thrilling. We got there at the very last moment, but man, it's fun. It's distilled Elden Ring down into like, faster movement. You're running around, picking up things in chests, picking up items. You're leveling up at sites of grace as you just run by. If you picked up enough souls from killing enemies, you just level up. It's predetermined level ups. You just get there and just smash the button, level 4, level 5, level 6. You're picking nothing. It's just predetermined for you based on your class. And it's just quick. It's fast. It's a little easier until you get to the main boss, and then it's deadly challenging. There's 3 of you and you can all choose whatever you want. You can all choose the same character. I was a sword and board basically the whole time. But you can be a mage. There's a duchess character that has some special moves. If your friends go down, it took me a while to figure this out. How do I res them? You just beat the shit out of them. You just start swinging your weapon at them. And it streamlined the D-pad, which I thought was the best, whereas you're digging through your items and using, you just keep pressing down to cycle through and you press up to use.
Nice.
Which I thought was better than what it is currently.
Yeah.
Man, I'm shocked. I had so much fun. I could see this being something that I play. Honestly, it's like the first one that I thought, wow, maybe this is a game I'm going to pick up on launch. So we'll see how it reviews and see how the full game bears out. But boy, I had a great time with the network test.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't sign up. I haven't even watched anyone playing it, but it sounds very cool. It sounds a pretty big departure in some ways. More so than I would expect, which is good. Especially when you're talking about that like instant leveling up kind of thing. And like, it's just like, no, stay focused on the action. That's what this is.
Absolutely streamlined. It's got some really smart map marking where you can kind of blend your character, get everyone to go to a focal point. I wonder if they're going to have any sort of like chat or talk or proximity chat or anything. But boy, I had a great time and I was not expecting to. I just wanted to see what it was like, and I was sad when it ended. I wanted to keep playing, and that's not something that always happens. Wanted to shout that out real quick.
Very cool. I think, are they going to do another network test?
I don't know, actually. They did, the 14th, 15th today, the 16th, I think. I'm not sure if they're going to do another one. They probably should, considering how they shit the bed on the first day, just to make sure their networks are actually working before launch, because I think it's going to be a big launch.
Yeah. When does it launch?
May 30th.
Okay, so they still got time. I would hope they would still do more.
Yeah.
They would do another one. They do this one, get all their data and fix stuff from this network test, and then do at least one more to make sure their fixes work at scale.
Yeah.
That would be the smart thing to do. But we will see what they try to do. But cool. I'm glad you got to try it.
Yeah, me too.
Well, awesome.
Yep. All right, my friends. Well, if you liked our podcast, please rate it on your podcast service of choice. And we will be back next week to talk about that Nintendo Switch Partner Direct. Who knows? All right. See you next week, folks.
Later, everyone.